Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and technically doing a Red-Eyes Zombie Dragon deck profile. So I'm really excited for you guys because this deck is actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Braxton. And this deck is a really awesome deck that summons out one of the most nostalgic monsters in the entire game. The Red-Eyes Black Dragon, but in a zombie form. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell in there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like in your name, description, every single video, getting us signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. And definitely give Braxton some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Red-Eyes Zombie Dragon. This card is a really awesome 3 on the deck. That's a really good boss monster. It has the ability that when this card destroys a zombie monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon that monster to your side of the field, which combos extremely well with Zombie World to just instantly turn every single monster into a zombie in both the field and the graveyard, which combos extremely well with this card. This card is super easy to put on the field as well, because all you have to do is put the Black Stone of Legend on the field, tribute it, and then special summon this card from the deck. We're then playing 2 copies of Red-Eyes Zombie Dragon's rival, Doom King Baller Draw. This card is a really good 2-of in the deck that during the standby phase, if there's a face-up field spell in the field spell zone, you can special summon this card from the graveyard in defense position. It also is a walking negate and a banish, which is really good and a definite 2-of in this deck. But since it can bring itself back from the graveyard, I feel like 2 is totally fine. We then play a single copy of Al Ghul Mazra. This card is a really good 1-of in the deck just to give you a little bit of protection, because if a zombie monster you control would be destroyed by battle by card effect, you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard instead. And if this card is banished from the hand or graveyard, you can special summon this card in defense position. Then you can reduce its level by 1, which is a great effect on this card to just get you an instant 2800 attack point boss monster on your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Necro World Banshee. This card is a really good 1-of the deck just to help you get to your copy of Zombie World a little bit faster. And with cards like Gozuki and Unizombie, getting this card into the graveyard is super easy to be able to get your copy of Zombie World. We then play 2 copies of Glow Bloom. This card is a really good 2-of in the deck. It has a really awesome effect that if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the grave, then add a level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck to your hand. Or if you have Zombie World on the field, you can special summon that monster instead, which is a great effect just to instantly get your copy of Doom King Baller Drop or even Red-Eyes Zombie Dragon onto your side of the field. But it does lock you into zombies for the rest of the turn. We then play 3 copies of Unizombie. Unizombie is an incredible card and one of the best zombie cards ever printed because it has the ability that basically it's a walking foolish burial, and you can discard zombies from your hand to increase the level of it by 1, which is a really awesome effect, and it is a once per turn effect on each of those effects, which is super good to be able to get your zombies into the graveyard. We then play 2 copies of Gozuki. Gozuki is a really good, basically walking foolish burial like your copy of Unizombie. This card is really good because during the main phase, you can send a zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is a once per turn effect, which is super good on this card because if it lives through the turn and you get to keep it till your next turn, you're going to be able to use that effect again. I then play 2 copies of Shiranui Solitaire. Solitaire is a great 2-of in the deck just to instantly get your copy of Unizombie onto your side of the field so you can start getting your zombie monsters into the graveyard. I then play a single copy of Mad Mauler. This is basically the tuner of the deck that's really good. It counts as Plague Spreader Zombie while in the field or in the graveyard, and if it's in your graveyard, you can target a level 6 or higher monster that you control, reduce its level by 2, and if you do, special summon this card. Also, the player who summoned it cannot special summon monsters except for zombie monsters while this card is face up in the monster zone, which is not the big deal because that's usually all we're summoning anyways. I then play a single copy of Spectral Sword. Spectral Sword is a really good 1-of the deck to help us go in for all sorts of different synchro plays, because we can banish this card and another zombie monster from the graveyard to basically synchro summon from the grave, which is a really awesome concept and helps us step into some really powerful synchro monsters. And then play 3 copies of the Black Stone of Legend. This card is really neat in the deck because it has the ability you can tribute this card to special summon a level 7 or lower Red-Eyes monster from your deck, which is always going to be your copies of Red-Eyes Zombie Dragon that you're actually special summoning off this card's effect, which is really cool that you can just instantly summon this card and just normal summon out the field, treat it, and summon out your Red-Eyes Zombie Dragon instantly to your side of the field. I then play 3 copies of Bysteel Magnamut. This card is a great 3-of in the deck because it works well with your copies of the Black Stone of Legend while also dealing with your opponent's graveyard. Now, all of your Bysteel monsters actually share a common effect that you can target a light or dark monster in either player's graveyard and banish it, and if your opponent controls a monster, this is a quick effect to instantly special summon out this card. And this card also has a super unique effect that if this card is special summoned, you can activate this effect that during the end phase of this turn, you can add a dragon monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is usually going to be either your copy of the Black Stone of Legend or one of our 2 copies of Druis Worm, which we do play 2 copies of Druis Worm in the deck as well. Druis Worm is a really good 2-of because if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, then you can target a special summon monster your opponent controls and send it to the grave, so it's a really good spot removal against the opponent. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is just really good in the deck overall to be able to get to your copy of Zombie World extremely quickly so we can start all of our plays. I then play a single copy of Monster Reborn. This card is really good in the deck just to bring back our zombies back from the graveyard, especially with the amount of high-level zombies we're playing in the deck. Play a single copy of 1-for-1. 1-for-1 works extremely well with the Black Stone of Legend or a copy of Glow Balloon to instantly get them on our side of the field so we can go in for some really good plays. Then play a single copy of Foolish Burial because all of our zombie monsters usually like to be in the graveyard, so this helps out our plays a lot. 1 copy of Zombie Reborn. Zombie Reborn is a super interesting card. I love this card in the deck because it has a super unique effect that you get to target a zombie monster in either player's graveyard and banish 1 monster with the same name from your deck or extra deck, and if you do, special summon the targeted monster to your field, which is a really interesting effect on this card that basically it's a monster reborn. But it also has the ability, if this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle one of your banished zombie monsters into the deck, and if you do, set this card but banish it when it leaves the field, so it's actually a double use, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Instant Fusion and then 2 copies of Ready Fusion. These cards basically do the exact same thing. You pay 1,000 life points to either be able to summon out a copy of Sea Monster or Allvain from the extra deck, which is really good just to get those cards out on our side of the field so we can go in for some synchro plays. We then play 3 copies of Super Polymerization. Super Polymerization is insanely good in this deck and just a really good 3-of to deal with your opponent's field and break their board, especially with your copies of Zombie World in this deck because it's going to turn all your opponent's monsters into zombie monsters while on the field and in the graveyard, and this card basically lets you go in for your copy of Nether Soul Dragon when you have your copy of Zombie World in the field using 2 of your opponent's monsters. I then play 3 copies of Zombie World. Zombie World is the best card in the entire deck with one of the most simple effects in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! That all monsters on the field and in the graveyards become zombie monsters, and neither player can tribute summon monsters except zombie monsters, which is a really good effect for us to be able to basically turn every monster on the field in the graveyard into zombies, and it really works to our advantage with this deck. So that's it for the spells and the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of Red Eye's Zombie Dragon Lord. This card is a really awesome 1-of in the deck, and it's just a really cool card overall because it has the ability that during your opponent's turn, a quick effect, you can target 1 zombie monster in your graveyard except another copy of this card and special summon it, which is a really good effect. This card is basically a walking Monster Reborn, and it also has the ability, if this card is in your graveyard, you can manage a zombie monster that you control to special summon this card. And you can only use each effect of this card once per turn. We then play a single copy of the Skeletal Dragon Felgrand. This card is really interesting and a great 1-of in the deck. If this card is special summoned, then you can target 1 monster that your opponent controls or in their graveyard and banish it. And if a monster is special summoned from either player's graveyard while this monster is on the field, except during the damage step, then you can target 1 other face-up monster on the field and negate its effects until the end of the turn, which is a pretty good effect to combo with your copy of Red Eye's Zombie Dragon Lord. We then play a single copy of Red Eye's Zombie Necro Dragon. This card gets absolutely massive in the deck because it gains 100 attack and defense for each zombie monster on the field and in the graveyards, which is pretty big because you're going to put a lot of zombies in the graveyard, and for every monster that your opponent has in the graveyard, well, you have Zombie World on the field, they get turned into zombies, so this card can get really big really quick. And when another zombie monster is destroyed by battle, then you can special summon a zombie monster from either graveyard to your field, which is a a pretty good effect because it doesn't even have to be the one that gets destroyed by battle. It can be any zombie monster. Then we play a single copy of Archfiend Zombie Skull. I figured this would be a really cool addition to the deck, and it's really a good card to be able to summon out with Spectral Sword, because you can just banish a copy of, say, Gozuki plus Spectral Sword from the graveyard to summon out this card, and has the ability that zombie monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is a pretty good blanket protection. I also think it'd be really cool if we could get a Black Skull Dragon zombie version, because we already have Summon Skull and Red Eyes Black Dragon in the deck, both in synchro form. We then play a single copy of Immortal Dragon, which is a super good addition to the deck, and a fantastic card overall, that during your main phase, you can send a zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, this card's level becomes the difference in original levels of that monster and this card, which is really cool to let you level modulate your card so you can go in for all sorts of cool synchro plays. I then play a single copy of Baron de Fleur. Baron de Fleur is a really good one in the deck that's basically a walking negate, and it's just an overall fantastic card in the deck, and it also can pop a card every single turn. I then play a single copy of Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, because we can summon it in the deck, so we play quite a few level 7 monsters, and this card is just really good overall, because every time your opponent breathes, they're going to take 500 points of damage, essentially. We then play a single copy of Boral Sword Dragon. Boral Sword Dragon is really good in the deck overall, just to help you OTK, because we can easily put 4 monsters on the field to be able to make this card. One copy of Avenged Savior. This card is really good overall, just to help you go in for battle damage, and it's a really good one-of in the deck. Play a single copy of Vampire Sucker. Vampire Sucker comes in extremely handy with your copy of Zombie Roll, because it has the ability you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it to your opponent's side of the field in defense position, but it becomes a zombie monster, and if a zombie monster is special summoned from either player's graveyard, you get to draw a card, which helps out a lot, especially if you combo with your copy of Doom King Baller Draw, because every single turn you're going to draw a card while this card's on the field. Play a single copy of Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh works extremely well with your copy of your Glow Bloom, because you can just instantly normal summon it to the field and link it away for this card, giving you a special summon of, say, a copy of Doom King Baller Drop to your side of the field. I then play a single copy of Nether Soul Dragon, one of our best super poly targets in the entire deck to be able to go into. This card is just absolutely massive and generates tokens, which is really cool. Then play a single copy of Garura, which is a really cool card to be able to summon to your side of the field if you don't have your copy of Zombie World on the field. It's just a generic super poly target. For the instant and ready fusion targets, we're playing a single copy of Sea Monster, because it is a level 5 tuner monster, and then a single copy of Allvain, which Allvain is a fairy monster, so you do have to watch out for that a little bit in the deck, but it's still really good because it's a level 2 tuner. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played zombies before, I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite decks of all time, because there's so many ways that you can take this deck, making it a pure Zombie World control version, or even including cool cards like Red Eyes Zombie Dragon, which is just really cool that there's 3 different versions of it. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.